Mashatile was answering oral questions in the NCOB for the first time since his appointment last month. He was grilled on the instability in coalitions at local government level.
The results of this process that we have undertaken will form part of the dialogue on coalitions to determine the appropriate mechanism to guide on how coalitions function collectively.
However, political parties have expressed mixed feelings about Mashatile's vision.
As part of our regulatory framework on coalitions, will government consider a participatory process of taking into account the views of communities in line with the injunctions of the Freedom Charter?
If more stringent regulatory framework is put in place, that will take away the democratic freedom of coalition partners.
The reality of coalition politics in South Africa is reflected in the farcical situation in Johannesburg, where a 0.6 percentage party is holding the mayoral chain.
The Deputy President says smaller parties must have a place in coalitions.
It must be correct proposals that advances not only the work of council, but ensure that we can deliver services to our communities.
Turning to issues of Eskom, Mashatile noted that municipalities owed Eskom over 56 billion rand as at the end of last year. Municipalities also owe billions to water boards. While some of this debt may be written off under strict conditions, there are plans to introduce electricity and water metering to contain debt.
Government has introduced a debt relief package for Eskom intended to improve the utilities balance sheet, whilst proposing that Eskom writes off some of the debts or some of the municipal debts under strict conditions with guidance from National Treasury.
The Deputy President was also cornered on the grey listing of South Africa, which means that the country has inadequate measures to fight money laundering and terrorism financing. There are calls for high-profile prosecutions to show that South Africa is serious about fighting money laundering.
The questions that South Africans are asking are, when will President Ramaphosa be formally charged with money laundering?
With respect to our own president, we know that he has subjected himself to the process of the law enforcement agencies. He has said so.
Mashatile says most of the recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force have already been resolved.
And we are now, Honorable Chairperson, focusing on the remaining 15 actions, which we should meet by January 2025.
Meanwhile, Mashatile says government is committed to rooting out organized criminal syndicates, vandalizing critical infrastructure in the water and electricity sectors. Ulelani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.